What's going on, guys? It's Cake Jostello back with another video with my brother. What's going on?
What's going on? We just watched The Wind.
Yeah, we just yeah. So what's your initial reaction to The Wind?
Somewhat of a plot twist at the end, but it plays out the same, like as you would expect it, like without giving it away, real quick. But it's interesting.
The Wind, though, it's one of those bad movies that's, I mean, I don't think it's aware that's a really bad movie. It definitely tried to be serious, but it's a bad movie.
Yeah. It's it
has 2.7 on IMDb. Yep. And I have it on this collection of like 20 horror films that are they're just terrible. And I got it for like $10 at Walmart, so it's pretty much what you expect. But so The Wind opens up with like this long talk about just everything bad in the world.
Right.
Essentially,
it
just it talks about like all war and disease and famine and everything like that is all just caused by the wind, kind of. They kind of imply
I don't know
that it's the
I don't
wind.
know if it really has anything to do with the wind, even though it's called the wind. Like you hear a little bit of wind in the beginning, and that's it. Like that's the only really reference to the wind in this movie.
Yeah, and like at several points throughout the movie, the wind blows, but like that's pretty much it. You know, the wind blows. That pretty much describes this movie. But
so maybe it's like a science fiction in a way, even though it's not.
Yeah.
Really.
So The Wind starts up with, so like after they give you that talk, it shows that it's America now, and then this girl named Claire calls up her friends, and they all decide to go show up in a field somewhere, because that's where they join up. Is just that, you know, when they meet each other, they just walk to a field.
So it must be like a general hangout.
And that guy was just like asleep in his living room for some reason.
But he just wakes up.
Yeah, and he just wakes up. But so they end up meeting in a field together, and she shows like there's this like really long shot where it's just going in circles and circles and circles, and it's really ridiculous and really like too played out. And it's kind of, I'm sure if people had motion sickness, they could get it from this shot because of just how terrible it is. But she shows them this message that she says, like she gets this card from Bob, her boyfriend. Well, from someone who was her boyfriend, but then stopped being her boyfriend. She says that she got this letter, so they contemplate for a while what they're gonna do. But the letter, because it was really creepy and it creeped her out, they end up meeting.
Discussing if they should.
They end up discussing if they should beat him up or not, and they end up meeting him in the woods. And then this guy's acting is just terrible.
Oh, it is.
It's the worst He's the worst actor in the movie for sure.
What's up, guys? Did I interrupt something? Are you guys okay? Let me guess, you guys were waiting for me so you could score some free food at my house? Well, forget it. Last time I had to hear it from my mom for a week.
But so they beat the crap out of the worst
actor. And the wind
comes. Yeah, and the wind blows really hard there, and then they hit him a little too hard, and he dies.
When they're playing Resident Evil 2.
Yeah. And then from there, they just they meet up with Claire after that, and she's just like a little too. Well, at first it makes it sound like she's upset that they killed him.
Right.
But then she just makes out with that guy. And then stuff, and then they just leave, and that dead body starts walking around some more, and the wind's blowing.
Right.
And and like that. Oh
then
no, the wind. And then like this
brother,
random
right?
kid, the random kid with the What? Yeah, that's
yeah. It's
yeah.
his brother, and he watches his brother like just.
Yeah,
die
and he watches
stuff.
his brother just die, and then
And
for
then they're
some
looking-
reason, these three guys that are older than college
Right.
age,
They play like they're older people
yeah,
playing
they're
younger
old,
people.
and then they're watching. So they're
Like-
supposed to be college age in the
Right.
movie, but then they're watching these girls that are like in
Probably-
high school,
yeah.
but they're like actually like 14 or 15. So like there's these guys older than college age, like in
Right.
their late
And
20s,
it's
looking at
implying,
little
like-
girl, like
right.
14-year-old girls,
It's
and
really
implying that
implying
they're
that.
like kind of getting off to them or something.
Right.
It's just creepy, and it's just weird. Like they didn't use like slightly older actors for the kids.
Right.
So it's just creepy. There's a crime scene situation going on because the police find the dead body, and then from there, Mick and John have this really long discussion, and John doesn't want Mick to tell that he killed Bob because he's thinking about
And all
yeah,
four of
Mick's
them-
thinking about telling the police that he called Bob, and
And-
then John
and-
doesn't want him to do
Right,
that.
He's just saying it's gonna be 3-on-1.
And then there's this like weird scene with Claire in the fields,
she's just-
and
yeah, she's skipping.
there's like supposed to be this suspenseful like turnaround to scare you, but there's just this one blood drop from her eye, and it's not scary at
Right,
all.
Exactly.
And then they do that kind of shot where she's at the door and then she walks away, but it's
Right.
not scary because
Right.
you just keep on seeing her walk away. And then Mick investigates Claire's house
And it's
for a
all
while,
dramatic,
and
gets all
he
creepy
starts
and touchy
smelling
and
her
stuff,
underwear and stuff for some
Yeah.
reason. And then like he finds the droppings that Claire
Right.
used to make for the card.
But
And then she
Claire
starts
comes home and
yeah.
he's like, oh, freaking out, and puts it all together and runs out the door. And then he's contemplating telling his mom about what he did, and yeah,
I killed Bob. The other day, Claire got this, card in the mail. Card in the mail from Bob. I just bashed him. It was if I killed Bob, but he deserved it. He should not have sent it to her. That's the point, Mom. So Billy and John, myself, we went a lesson about manners. That's what we decided to do. So we met him on his way home, and something clicked. We were fighting. He had to learn a lesson because what he did was wrong, and she was upset about it, and that upset me. I showed him the card. Something clicked because he was down on the ground and he was looked up and he was bleeding, and he had blood coming down on his face. And I picked up this stick and I ran up to him and I bashed, boom, boom. Actually, no, you've been proud of me because it was more than just killing the guy. I went bash him and I bash him, boom, because he deserved it. It was offensive, Mom. I mean, that's deserved it. I'm scared.
Yeah, and then what happens
Besides that,
after
though?
that? Let's see.
he's trying to tell his mom, and then John comes up to him and says, oh
Oh yeah, there's that scene
yeah.
where he's just trying to intimidate.
right,
Where John's trying to intimidate Mick by being behind his mother and stuff like that. And he's talking about how he has the hots for his mom, which ends up being involved with another scene later.
right.
Who's your daddy? Oh, that's right. I am.
Oh, and then Earl just comes out of nowhere, pretty much, like this guy that we didn't really remember his name until later on in the movie, and he threatens to tell on the murderer.
Right.
In
What do
the
you
middle of
expect
the
is
woods,
gonna
in the middle of the
What do you-
woods,
what do
he
you think-
threatens to tell a murderer
happen? Right.
that he's gonna tell on him. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? That you weren't gonna get your ass
Exactly.
kicked?
He's just gonna just react like happy and friendly towards him. Like, what is he thinking there?
Yeah, exactly. But from there, Claire gets caught by Mick. Like, Mick talks to Claire about what's going on. She tries to seduce him,
Definitely.
and she ends up doing that, I think.
Yeah, a little bit. But like then he's
He's just
telling-
upset.
Right.
Yeah.
Now they're.
Then there's a
in the
scene
forest.
where John and Billy are talking to Mick. Oh, sorry, these characters are just pretty forgettable. They're just so bland,
Right.
and they could all just be the same
We
character.
really
That's
had a hard time like remembering these people's names throughout the movie because like it's just they hardly mention them, but like and they're all the same person basically.
so John and Billy chase Mick, but Mick gets away, and then from there, Claire has this weird blood orgy with John and Billy, and the scene's just really long and
Right.
uncomfortable. And then Claire's getting these weird voice messages on her thing, and I'm pretty sure it was Earl that was doing that, right?
I believe so. That's what he says at the end. Oh, spoiler.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. These
Yeah.
people aren't gonna be that concerned with this movie. I don't know. I mean, if you're watching this movie, you're probably watching it because you know it's a bad movie and you're watching it purposefully for that. So spoilers aren't gonna be your biggest concern. From there, John seduces Mick's mom,
Yeah.
Vanessa,
Yep.
and it's. I mean, that scene probably went on a little longer than it had to.
Right. Right. And she reacted like he did something to her, like really forcibly and stuff. And like she was just so offended, basically. And then they meet up in the woods. Well, they tell them so. Who's that? Mick. Mick comes home to see his mom crying, and he's like, "What do you do? What did he do to you?" And he goes out to the woods to find John and who's that?
John and Billy.
John and Billy, and they start fighting, and damn, like, go yeah.
Yeah, like what happens is like they have that final confrontation in the movie where Billy. Okay, so John gets killed by Mick. Mick gets killed by Earl, and then Earl starts just walking away and talking some shit like he thinks he's like he's a complete psychopath,
Right.
and he's just talking about how he has all this crazy magical power, which he obviously doesn't. But I mean, he did kill Mick, I guess, or that at least that's the implication. We don't know if he's actually dead. He could be just knocked out, but
They were a group of friends who killed one of their own. Before it was all over, more betrayals, more murders. All this gave the brother of the first to die an opportunity he only dreamed of. It's what true freedom must be like, to be the one in charge. And the winds of change were from that day on in his favor.
then Claire and Billy kill Earl, and that's the whole movie.
Yep, it just ends right there, and you're just left to assume that they're all right and stuff, and like both of them were dead. So everyone was dead except for Billy and Claire. But I guess Bob's brother got revenge in a way because he killed the killer of his brother.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of true, but he also died.
Yeah, I don't think he really cared after that. He was just walked over aimlessly, and again he just doesn't see shit coming. Like he just doesn't think about fucking anything that could happen to him, like getting beat up in the woods or fucking getting killed in the woods. Like he just doesn't assume I don't know anything.
And,
The wind.
Yeah, so this movie has nothing to do with the wind
Nope.
except for it says that the wind is like the cause of a lot of
Right.
problems at the beginning of the movie.
And if you look
And
at
then
if you look at the cover for it, it looks nothing like you would think the movie is. Nothing. Like it looks like there's
Well, I
a
mean
zombie.
that's just like Bob
Yeah.
dead, I
Yeah,
guess.
but
I
it
don't
just
know.
it gives you the impression like there's gonna be like a zombie movie because it looks like he's like there's bones.
Yeah,
or
it
something
definitely
that
looks a
leave
lot
him.
more like it's a
Yeah.
scary horror movie
Right.
than it actually is in that picture. which I mean that's how they sell movies. You know, they gotta make it look better than it actually is.
So would you watch this movie?
I mean, I've seen
Would you
this.
recommend it?
I would recommend it to people who like to watch bad movies, which I mean that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
And that's why I mean I have this movie in the first place. I own this movie, so just keep that in mind. YouTube copyright. I own this movie. I've purchased this movie, and I'm saying that people who like bad movies like I do should go and see this movie and buy this movie
And
if they can. So please don't copyright strike me. So yeah, check out The Wind if you like movies
And
that
bad
are.
sci-fi movies.
Yeah, I mean,
It
yeah.
is kind of sci-fi.
So I mean, I wouldn't even call it. It's
No,
just
it's
just
not.
a straight up like
It has nothing to do
people
with it.
murder.
Right.
Like it's just a murder.
That's
Not
one
even a
s-
mystery. You know who did
And
it.
it
I
has
can't say
one
murder
scene-
mystery. It's like you know who did
yeah,
it, but
definitely. And you know what's gonna happen. Kind of like someone's gonna feel guilty.
if
about it.
anything, this movie is a murder drama
Yeah.
kind of thing because you know who the killer is and you're following that. But I mean, the acting's pretty terrible. Especially, yeah. It's just pretty terrible overall. And
And
I
you
mean,
probably you get that like when like it opens up like you're supposedly like the wind, like you, the screen, the viewer are the wind, like going like they have these scenes where it's just like you're like kind of flying.
oh yeah, like
that's
you
how
think
the
the
movie
wind is
begins.
watching,
Right.
and like and early on, Claire reacts to the wind and
Right.
stuff.
It's so it kind of like I think it had the idea of like being about the wind at first, and they were like, no one's gonna really buy that.
Either that or it's like they wanted to have a villain that was so cheap to make that they didn't have to make anything at all, and it was literally the wind.
Right. Because they can't prove like it's the wind's influence or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they just like put a fan somewhere in the woods. Yeah, if you like to see movies about fans being put in the woods, check out The Wind. Yeah.